Welcome to another episode of Innovation Odyssey. I have from Miami, Paris, Victor Santoro, who is the founder and CEO of Profit Leap. Welcome to the podcast, Victor.
Thank you. Thank you, Renu, for having me.
How are you?
I am phenomenal. How are you?
I'm good. It's Friday.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And you're not the last work conversation I'm going to have, but it's still I love doing my podcasts. They make me very happy.
That's great. I'm glad to be a part of it.
So, I always start with asking my guests for a 30-second elevator pitch. Who are they? What do they do?
Absolutely. So in my current stage, I would call myself a serial entrepreneur. I'm a doctor that created several ventures and enterprises nearly in the past nearly 2 decades. I advised 60 small businesses over the last 3 years, and I have a mission to help small businesses achieve success faster. In the company that I created, we use a combination of business strategy, technology to help people achieve the best in their personal lives through improving their businesses, improving their processes, and improving their finances. I think that's about it for me. There's, of course, so much more to say, but I think that's all I can cram into a 30-second introduction. How's that?
That's fantastic. I love it because now I can pick pieces and ask all my questions. So a doctor saves lives, and a serial entrepreneur, in my opinion, helps build better companies, right? Your 8th company is going to be better than your 7th by default. So I guess I want to step back. Why did you want to become a doctor?
I am the oldest in a family of 3. So I have 2 smaller siblings, younger siblings, and my family is very traditional from Brazil. So we come from a tradition of hard work and making our parents proud, right? So I think I felt the need to become the highest possible achiever I could possibly be. And back when I was a kid in high school, the hardest profession to get into was medicine in Brazil. So I said, you know what, this would make my parents the proudest and the happiest. That was my thought process back then. And so there I was trying to get into medical school, and well, I did it. So it was more of an accomplishment and an achievement to honor my family than a personal passion of mine, right? So that's how I became a doctor in the first place. And while in medical school, quickly things started to deteriorate a little bit, because then all of the requirements of a medical career started to become very apparent to me that was really not what I was supposed to be doing. I struggled really, really hard in completing medical school, even though getting into it was not that hard. And throughout the process, of course, I made many new friends. I learned a lot of things. I learned how to be a doctor despite my lack of inclination to it. I mean, I did my best to really complete medical school. And I think I graduated medical school out of obligation to my family, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, this is so interesting because my background is an economist, and I am of Indian origin. So growing up, a good person, Indian, is supposed to be either a doctor or an engineer. I had the background to do that, but I did not want to do that. I wanted to do something so different, and I went my path. Now I look back and I actually think I would have been a good doctor. You know, I guess there is the science of it, and there is also the touch of a doctor, right? So it's very interesting how we associate what we do with our parents and how we move away and then maybe we come back. But it's a very...
And if I may add to it, Renu, as a young man, I think I struggled with letting go for years, right? Even during medical school, I was resentful of my family for having forced me to take on that responsibility and that career. But as I grew older, I realized I was only a product of my own choices, and my parents did their very best. And I'm so happy and proud that they did because I am a man of values. I'm a man of principles. I am a man of knowledge, right? So, despite not having realized that medicine wasn't the right career for me midway, I ended up accomplishing that, and I'm all the better for it because now I understand a little bit more about humanity, a little bit more about human beings as biological creatures, also as sociological creatures, psychological beings. So I understand so much more. And honestly, this gave me some leverage when I finally decided to go into business.
Yes, I mean, treating a human being is actually the complete art, right? To make someone better, you've got to touch everything. So I think of like your applicability to any area. You would be fabulous in biotech, healthcare, medicine. It's just the possibilities are limitless. I have a little view of this because I'm a health economist. So I can bring in my lens to whatever it is that I do in the insurance world or in quantum computing. It's a skill set for life, actually.
I love that you said you can bring your lens into everything. And it is exactly that, right? It's everything we do in the past becomes kind of a filter and a lens and kind of a veil through which we see the world, right? So I think, I mean, we can only be as large and as big as our limitations. But again, I am very happy to have fulfilled this part of my journey and then went into a new journey, right? So this is really something I'm very proud of.
But you spend quite some time in healthcare, right? Service hospitals. You want to explain a little bit on that?
I graduated medicine in 2001, and then I took a second medical degree, became a radiologist and nuclear medicine physician. Took me 3 years, so from 2003 to 2005. And then right after 2005, I was invited to direct a diagnostic imaging department in countryside Brazil. That was I think that was the moment when I realized kind of a completely different trajectory that had been completely invisible to me until then, because I was invited into this hospital in a tiny city. The hospital was already functioning, but the diagnostic imaging wing had nothing in it, had no equipment, had no staff, had no processes. So I pretty much had to invent everything from scratch. I had to write policies, procedures. I had to hire people, train them. I had to negotiate with vendors and develop marketing and sales strategies. And that's when it clicked for me. I said, you know what? Wait a minute. I love this. This is what I should be doing full time. But of course, I mean, there was all there. There was for many years. I want to say for 10 or 15 years, I struggled with the fact that I was going to abandon my career as a doctor. That felt very backwards. Does that make sense? It felt backward. I thought about my parents all the time. What will they say? It took me many years, Renu, sincerely. I think I took that first job. It was 2005. The moment that I said, all right, so no more doctor stuff. Let's just go full-time business. It was 2015. So it took me 10 years.
And you're liberated since then.
Yeah, I'm a completely different person. I'm happier and I'm more stressed out because building a business is no joke.
Yes, yes. It's the stress that actually, I think it's the stress that keeps you living longer.
Those are some deep words right there. I would love to hear more about that.
No, but this is how many entrepreneurs. Okay, our universe is small because we are entrepreneurs and we know entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy around us is very similar. But how many people actually go and start building companies, right?
Very few.
And very few. And the ones who do it, and they do it multiple times, they do it because that's what keeps them alive.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And you take away that entrepreneurial spirit from me, I'll probably die 10 years earlier. I can guarantee you
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yes. I completely agree. So we call it stress because I think that's the culturally appropriate word, right? Everybody does. Everybody calls it that, but it's really, I think I agree with you. Let's just start calling it something else like life energy or something. Because for me, it is very energizing. It is very, I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat every single day. I don't know what's going to happen next day. So, oh my God, this is the thrill of being an entrepreneur. So that's why I love about it.
And what does Profit Leap do?
So Profit Leap was started last year, a place of uncertain and unreliable growth. So here's the story, right? So I joined an advising firm after having opened a few businesses, failing a couple of them, complete catastrophe, complete train wrecks, right? I had a pretty successful exit in 2015 when I sold my business for 10 times what I put in it. And then I said, all right, what next? I just sold my business. I have nothing else to do. What should I do? I said, you know what? Let me advise other businesses because I have all this accumulated knowledge, and I'm pretty sure people would be glad to be able to get that information from me. And I'm sure I could help many more people. So I joined an advising consulting firm, and I consulted for 60 lawyers over the course of 2.5 years. And then in the advising world, um, it's different than being a business owner because then you have to figure out 20, 30, sometimes 40 different business problems at once, as opposed to just figuring out that one business that you started, right? So this was very challenging. Was one of the most life-changing, enriching experiences I've ever had, having to deal with so many different problems and having to approach those problems with different strategies. There's a lot of human psychology involved in that too. Advising is no joke. Is definitely something that is. I really admire people who can advise, be business coaches, because there's a lot of human psychology involved in not only business strategy. But sometime during the process, I realized that a part of business strategy and business development that I truly love, which is data analysis, right? I really like helping people and helping myself look at data and analyze data in a way that can show truth. And by knowing the truth, you know where you are, and it makes it easier for you to plot a course to where you want to go, right? So being managing a business without looking at your information, without looking at your data, is like navigating in fog. You just don't know. I mean, you're making gut decisions. You're just making things based on feelings or passions. So that bothered me a lot, right? So I said, you know what? These business owners, they were all small business owners in the professional sector, so they were all lawyers. They could do better. They could see their data a little bit better, and they could start making better decisions based on information that they already have. So how can they how can they connect with the information they already have in a way that is helpful, that is drives growth, that drives progress? So in the company that I was working for, I pitched some different ideas for them to innovate internally. Unfortunately, they weren't the type of firm that likes to innovate too much, at least not in that direction. So my ideas were completely turned down almost immediately. And then I joined with another coworker that I had there, and we both shared the same passion for data-driven growth. And we said, you know what, let's do it ourselves. I know that they don't want to do it. It's fine. I mean, they have their own ways of doing things, but we truly believe we're passionate about this. We're passionate. We are trying to make people see truth, and by seeing truth, they can achieve growth and freedom. And that's what we do. So Profit Leap provide services that are range from consulting services in both the financial and strategy arenas. We also provide bookkeeping services, and we also provide a one-stop shop for your data, which is what we call success dashboard. So we connect with many sources of data that the business has. We kind of declutter at. We just promote the most important information for that particular stage of your growth, and we help you with accountability. So we help you fulfill the promises that you made to yourself. And while you do that, you can see how your data grows with you, right? The data is just like a representation of truth. And then you can see, when you see the data kind of moving along in your progress bar, you're happy and you have that dopamine rush of having accomplished something. And then we want to use all of those tricks and all of those hacks and all of those systems in favor of our business clients so they can achieve their success faster.
Are the clients, when you say small businesses, how big are they in terms of employee size?
It varies a lot. So we have clients with 5 employees, so some are as little as 5 employees, and some have 200 employees. So size ranges a lot, and the reason why the number of employees really doesn't really matter to us is because typically firms with 5 employees and firms with 200 employees, they'll have the same 5 or 10 data sources. And by helping them with those 5, 10 data sources and unscrambling the noise and promoting only the KPIs and the information that are critical for that stage, we can help the high level management team, whether it's a C-suite team or the owner themselves. We can help them just see what's important for that part of the business. So and same thing for revenue levels, right? So it doesn't matter how much you make a year, as long as you have some sources of data and you haven't been able to make decisions based on that because it's just too much for you to handle. Maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a lawyer, maybe you're somebody that's not necessarily familiar with spreadsheets and numbers. We just make that go away and just kind of point that business owner in the right direction, or at least help them see the direction that they should be going to. Does that make sense?
Can you give me an example of one metric that you show, the dashboard shows, which your clients have found particularly insightful?
One metric that everybody really likes is KPI per employee, right? So for instance, let's say that you have 50 employees and each of those employees has their own job descriptions, of course, or each position has a job description, and each position has its own KPIs. So what we can do is we can track individual KPIs. So for instance, John Smith needs to bill 100 hours a month. We can track John Smith's billable hours for that month. Maybe Mary Taylor needs to close 20 files a month. We track that. So when you click on the people metrics, you can see your team KPI. So how close is your team from achieving 100% of all of the KPIs that they have been assigned? And you can also see individual KPIs. And then it makes it easy for you as the owner or the CEO, or for instance, a director, bring your team member in and say, hey, John, look at this. So month by month, you have been failing to meet your KPIs by 10%, for instance. So let's have a conversation, right? We transform those many spreadsheets or many tables, many reports into one metric that matters for each part of the business that is relevant for that part. So for other businesses, it might be business development, right? For other companies, they might be struggling with sales and marketing. So the metric that we're going to promote the most is going to be conversions, right? So how many leads did you get last month? How many from each marketing channel that you invest money in? And how well have we been internally converting those leads into actual paying customers? So you can see those three metrics side by side, and all of a sudden have a completely clear picture of your sales and marketing systems. And we're getting enough leads, we're just not converting them. So let's bring our sales and intake people in here and have a discussion with them, right? So it promotes the information that you need the most for that particular problem that you're facing. And of course, the consulting and accountability parts are relevant as well for that, because of course, if you see something but you don't know what it means, it's going to be hard for you to make a decision based on that. So we also provide back like a customer service support to interpret that information for you, and both in the form of consulting and bookkeeping. So, oh, I don't know what this means. All right, let's have a meeting. Let's have a conversation about that. And then I train you as a business owner to read what the charts say.
That's that's really beautiful because I was building a dashboard for data for insurance companies which use external data, and I really wanted to stop dumping data on people. Right? You have to make it tell the story, and it's actually quite easy after a while to automate it because sometimes the storylines are the same. You know.
So I want
So
to bring because you mentioned that, I just had a conversation with a potential client, and she's considering engaging in our services. And part of the conversation is I always try to figure out what their pain point is, right? So what are you struggling with today? What is the part of this long journey that you got stuck in? And maybe I can figure out a way around it, or sometimes we are not even the best fit for that particular stage. But this person said, uh, my previous consulting firm, they kept uh, creating business plans and budgets and throwing spreadsheets at me. I have no idea. I don't know how to read numbers. If you show me a spreadsheet, I'm turned off immediately. So how can you grow as a business if you're being turned off every single call? So this is a problem that a lot of business owners face.
yeah. Does your platform integrate with HubSpot and QuickBooks?
Yes.
Or
So
okay.
great question. So because we just founded the company last year, it's been 6 months that we're in full-time development of this platform. As I said, our company is a blend of consulting plus technology, right? So we are investing resources and time into making this dashboard the best possible dashboard for small and medium-sized business owners for those reasons. And uh, each new client that comes in and have a specific tech stack, we build connectors for their tech stack. So we don't have like thousands of pre-existing connectors, but we have for the main ones. And then every new client that comes in, we look at their tech stack. So we have Excel, Google Sheets, QuickBooks. I mean, the basics we already have. But let's say that they have, instead of HubSpot, they have Salesforce. I don't have a connector for Salesforce today. So we sign up with them, we're going to build a connector for Salesforce. And building new connectors is, although it's development intensive, it doesn't take a lot of time because, I mean, we are 100% focused in kind of making this data, the data connections and collecting data as seamless and as hands off as we can, right? So it's that's something that we're investing a lot in.
Do you integrate Gen AI?
Good question. Yes. So our dashboard also has an artificial intelligence system that we call Huxley. So Huxley is our AI bot, and basically what Huxley is, it has a core that is an LLM, right? And we use cutting edge LLM. So as soon as we have a new LLM or better LLM, large language model, we can just kind of switch the core of this bot, and it becomes instantly better. But around this large language model, we create a layer of business intelligence. So we give it some training and some fine tuning to understand the business. We have a framework that's called 8 Gears of Success, where we pretty much slice any company into 8 parts: the entrepreneur, the strategy, the operations, sales, marketing, people, cash, and profit. So every business has those 8 parts, right? So what we do is we train the AI, we train Huxley into understanding and slicing businesses in 8 parts, just like we would as consultants. And then if your focus, for instance, this quarter is sales and marketing, Huxley is going to be like laser focused into helping you achieve sales and marketing goals. And the third layer around those two is knowledge of your own data, right? So Huxley not only has all the knowledge that a large language model has, which is worldly knowledge, right? A collective of humanity's achievements and information. It also has our business training, and it also knows your information. So it knows your business plan, it knows your goals, it knows your financials. It sees your data. So it's almost like you have an advisor co-pilot at 24/7 at your disposal.
And the industries, the small businesses are in different industries, or is there one specific industry
We are
focus?
industry agnostic. We identified as the industries that can most immediately benefit from what we do, the service industries and professional industries. So, as I mentioned, doctors and lawyers are a perfect example of those, right? Because they have such similar business models where they don't have inventory, right? So doctors and lawyers have no inventory. So it's so easy to just replicate the dashboard across those. But we also have modules that can be used for manufacturing companies and retail. It's just that we're focusing right now on more on service-based industries.
What about recruitment firms?
We can help them as well. So they have no inventory, and 100% of their revenue streams come from service providing, right? So yeah, it would be considered as a service, as a part of the service industry. So yeah, we can definitely help them as well. Why? Do you have anybody in mind?
No, because no, the reason is that sometimes when I talk to recruiters, I feel like in a company, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. This is sometimes the case in many companies, but just recruiters, sometimes I wish they talked. And so it would be very good to kind of, for them to have that view, especially for the smaller ones, the smaller recruiting companies. And also the other reason is we now have the gig economy, right, where people don't want full-time jobs anymore. And there is that kind of a flexible labor force. And so mapping productivity for a flexible labor force is sometimes a bit tricky if you try to look at it in the regular traditional world. So that's why I think that the putting some sort of metrics would be helpful, because a lot of the people, I think, they are not going to do the 9 to 5 anymore.
That's so interesting that you mentioned that. We have been studying and implementing a lot of metrics around not only KPIs, which are somewhat easy to measure, but not necessarily that they translate directly to results, right? We are also implementing a second layer of metrics, which we call OKR, so objectives and key results. So let's say that your staff member has to deliver 20 files per month, right? So a good KPI to measure would be the number of files delivered. But how about the files that are delivered with poor quality? What about the files that need to be redone because they weren't done correctly in the first place? How about the low value files? So it's hard to predict revenue or profit only based on like a unidimensional KPI, right? So for those cases, we create a different metric, which is more aligned with the results that this position needs to deliver and not necessarily the number of files or the number of boxes checked in a list, right? And one of those examples for the same person, instead of delivering 20 files, is generating 20 5-star reviews from happy customers, one of them, right? Because happy customers come back, happy customers refer other customers. Another key result could be achieve $10,000 in net or in gross profits in a month based on the files that you deliver. So this is more in line with your organizational objectives because it's not just the number of boxes that you checked. Those boxes have weights, right? So the more valuable the box, the better the result that you're going to be is going to be assigned to you. So, well, yeah, we have, and the dashboard is already the success dashboard is already prepared to onboard any of those types of metrics, whether they are just boxes to be checked or results to be tracked, right? So we can do both of them.
How many people are there in Profit Leap?
We currently have 5 employees, including the founder. So it's the two of us plus three. Um, and as I said, development is high in our priority list. So we're hiring another developer. So next month, or actually next week, we should be 6.
Congratulations. It's always great.
Thank you. A small company with a big vision.
Yes. Oh, that's how big things are built.
Yes, absolutely. 100% agree.
Are you funded from client revenue?
We are funded from client revenue, so we can fund all of our expenses. We can fund our partial salaries for the founder, so we're almost 100% self funded. But that doesn't stop us from seeking funding. We are looking for a seed round right now, and the reason for that is not to cover expenses, is to grow fast. We believe that technology that we bring is very useful. It's going to be help a lot of people. I mean, hopefully thousands or even tens of thousands of people. But there's a time window for that, right? So the large language models are improving on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. So we want to be able to be at the forefront of this technology revolution, and in order to be able to be in the tip of the spear, we need to develop fast. So the first place we're going to allocate the seed money is going to be to hire more developers to test the new versions of the app more frequently and get more user feedback and make it even better. And for that, we need a lot of quality assurance people kind of going back and forth and debugging the platform. We need a lot of customer acquisition, so we need to bring a lot of evangelists and fans to the platform so they can give us their honest feedback. And then we can have a team of backend and front end developers that can pretty much turn things around fast and create the new version on a weekly or maybe bi-weekly basis. And that's what we're going to use the seed round money for.
And have you joined any accelerators?
Can you repeat the question?
Like, have you joined any accelerators like Y Combinator or Plug and Play?
We joined a few smaller groups, so we haven't joined any large accelerator companies like that, but we did join some investor-based accelerator groups and networking groups. We're just starting to pitch our pitch deck right now, so I think it's a process, but definitely we're going to be attending the events and kind of pitching to many people before we accept our first offer, I'm pretty sure. And we're also very selective, so we don't just want we don't want somebody to just make us a check, right? We want somebody that can add to the organization and become like an integral part of the new vision, right? So we would love to have somebody with a lot of experience in the AI industry and technology sales industry, software as a service. So people with those backgrounds will definitely be much valued for their experience and their guidance. And then, of course, they can also cut us a check.
Yes. Yeah. I think the era of VCs who just hand checks and be annoying is done.
I think it good riddance, right? Because I think money should be only a tool to achieve great things and not, an end in itself. So I'm happy to contribute to that trend.
A little bit on your personal journey. What made you move from Brazil to the US?
That is actually the best question, Renu, because I think moving moving to the United States was such a pivotal moment in my life, right? First, because this is when I finally parted ways with my medical career, right? So I was not allowed, and I also did not have the intention of practicing medicine here. So I was forced to just let go for good. So this was a very pivotal moment. But also, when that decision started to creep up on me, the decision of abandoning medicine and pretty much becoming a business owner and business developer and business manager full time and entrepreneur full time, the one thing that I thought of was, all right, so how's the business environment here, right? If I want to be an entrepreneur and put my time and my money and my resources, is this gonna be the best investment? And can I grow and can I be a fulfilled and accomplished person having a business here? And can I deliver it to my family, right? And back then, Brazil wasn't great, wasn't the best place to invest in, right? So the business environment in Brazil, economy is not very business friendly, so to speak. Brazil had a few very tormented decades before. I mean, when I was little, I mean, not when I was already practicing medicine, but before, when I was young, Brazil had a few very tormented decades where inflation was like, I don't know, 300, 500%. It was unbelievable. I mean, you made you got your monthly paycheck and you had to run to the stores. Otherwise, if you waited a week, you couldn't buy as much stuff. It was unbelievable, and I still have memory of those years. And then my wife and I, we sat down and said, "Well, this is what we're gonna do. Start a business. This is what I want to do. So what should we do next?" And then we started looking out for possibilities in other countries that would be more business friendly, right? More entrepreneur friendly. And we listed a few countries, of course. I mean, we weren't set on the United States to begin with. And we ended up deciding for the United States because the business we wanted to open in 2015 was a senior care business. And we said, you know what, Florida is the place. So United States is a country where the consumer market and the growth is, I mean, is the biggest. I mean, is the biggest market on the planet. Most states, I'm not going to say all of the states, but most of the most states here, they are very friendly to businesses. They're super easy to start an entity. Very easy also to hire people. Very easy to maintain your operations, to innovate without a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape. So we said, you know what, let's go to Florida and start this senior care company. And this is the company that I exited successfully in 2015 or in 2020. I'm sorry.
So you're going to be in the US for nearly a decade.
Yes, next year we're going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary here. Very proudly so.
Yes, I've been in Switzerland now for 10.5 years.
Yeah, well, almost as long as I have. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, and the United States welcomed us with open arms. We came here with a plan. We came here to invest. We came here to grow, and so we did, right? So it's amazing how some decisions in your life can make such a tremendous difference, and that's why I call it a pivotal moment in my life.
I completely agree with you. I always ask my guests this question: are you an entrepreneur or an innovator? And the definition is yours.
I think I am an entrepreneur, and here's the reason why. The skill sets an entrepreneur must have sometimes are not to innovate. Sometimes you need to smother innovation just to be able to survive for a few months or maybe even a couple of years. So definitely innovation is part of the entrepreneur skill set, but the entrepreneur needs to use it wisely, just like a toolkit, right? So it's part of your toolbox. Innovation is there. You have the capacity and the ability to innovate. Well, I mean, we innovate pretty much, I mean, anytime when needed. But when we need to just do, like, put our heads down and just do the work, we do the work. That's why I think of myself as an entrepreneur before an innovator. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I I ask this question to everyone, and everyone gives me such great answers, and then I kind of try to see where I stand.
Where do you stand?
And I think I am an entrepreneur. I innovation, there are some things that I want to do in my lifetime that will be truly game changing. That's what I would call innovation. But I am not doing them now simply because I don't have the patience right now to do the long journey on those things. The things I want to change will take possibly decades.
Wow.
So I would want to kind of get my hands dirty and my name known around as someone who just does things. And so I think that is where I am now. But maybe if you ask me 10 years later, I don't know what the answer would be. But right now I want to get this done.
Let's do this then. Let's schedule a follow-up call for a year from now, and then we're gonna ask ourselves the same question, right? So you ask me, and I'll ask you. How about that?
Yes, I love that.
Perfect.
Maybe we'll do a short episode of all of my guests.
That's great. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do a follow-up. Where do you stand in the entrepreneurs versus innovator?
And we have to, in the mindset of wrapping up, what is your outlook for entrepreneurship in general? Because, we've seen COVID, we've seen economists are always forecasting a bit of a recession. So what do you think about the concept of entrepreneurship in action in, say, United States?
I think entrepreneurship will save the world, and this is why. I believe that a business is a value exchange machine, is the optimal value exchange machine. Right? So I have something you want, and you have something I need. We just shake hands and we agree on what is a good exchange rate, and there you go. I have what I want, and you have what you need, and we're both all the better for it. And the more we do that, I think the lives of everybody are going to be so much better, and they have been. If you look at the historical progress of mankind, and especially progress in countries where there's a free market, right? That's my outlook, not only for the United States but for the planet. I mean, everybody should really stop and really consider supporting entrepreneurs of all sizes, startups, small businesses, medium and large businesses, because they are, on a daily basis, they are creating value where yesterday there was none. So that's what I think about entrepreneurship.
I love it because this is more or less what I think. And I try to promote that. The reason why we have this podcast. I haven't spun 8 companies, not yet. But you live the value.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
right? And that's great. So, on that note, I'd like to thank you very much for the wonderful conversation, for the insights. And I'm always inspired to go back and do some work after the podcast. So thank you, Victor.
Perfect. I thank you, and thanks for having me. And I look forward to our next conversation in a year.
Let's do that.